Whenever somebody talk about one of the teams that should have did it or could have did it, we like number 1 or 2.
He finds Wallace for 3. That is the shot.
There's a certain image when one thinks of the Portland Trailblazers.
People out there always think of us as the Jailblazers.
Everywhere I went, that people looked at me like a jailblazer and everything that came with that baggage, that backpack.
Wells! It's through again!
Wallace Wells with a pass. Lob to Wallace.
From 1998 to 2000, the Portland Trailblazers were one of the most dominant teams in the NBA.
He just didn't do that, did he?
I got to know Rasheed Wallace and Bonzi Wells, 2 of Portland's stars, while making the podcast Whistleblower.
Tim Livingston is the sports journalist, creator, and host of
Rumors have swirled over the years about a documentary on the team, a film about the talented, brash, headband-wearing Blazers of the late 90s and early 2000s. But that documentary has yet to come together.
Both teams play hard. God bless and good night.
So I asked Rasheed and Bonzi to sit down with me to discuss their years in Portland, where their team was branded by the local media as the Jailblazers.
Now we can say whatever we want to. We can tell people what really, really, really was happening so they can form their real opinion. The fans were great until the end when they, shit hit the fan. I mean, every time they see me, they showed love. They appreciated everything I was doing. The only problem I had was the police. Every time you go out, you're getting followed. Every time we leave the game, they pulling you over. And then it used to be the craziest thing where it used to kill us. We could be leaving the game. They pull you over, and somehow in their report, it always said that we think we smelled a hint of marijuana.
I didn't see too much racism. The fans still welcome me with open arms, still cheer for me, on and off the court for my years and playing there. But I did receive a lot of hate mail, from the outer parts of the state, outside of Portland. Not saying that I was everybody's favorite in Portland, but it was more people there that cheered for us in Portland opposing to outside. So, we did get our fair share of some hate mail there, nigga this, nigga that, fuck that, you should be happy to make all this money. You guys are taking a white man's job.
The term Jailblazers was coined in a 1996 article featuring Rasheed and a handful of other players. Most people, when they think of Oregon, think of trees, rain, and hippies. But Oregon's original constitution, which was drafted in 1859, prohibited black people from living in the state. It remained illegal for a black person to move to Oregon until 1926. Portland remains the whitest city in America, and Oregon as a state is 75% white, 2% black.
Wow. I feel like I knew all 2% when I lived in Portland for some reason. There was no blueprint to this shit we were doing. We all living day for day, learning every day on how to live being a professional. We all was broke as hell on a Monday and we was rich as shit on Tuesday. It wasn't no gap, you know what I'm saying? Our parents didn't have shit. People don't understand that part of it. It's almost like they be like, oh shit, they got some money, they got to have everything figured out. That is totally the opposite of the way the really shit is, because now everybody's at your ass and people don't understand how much stress you got to deal with that part of it. Now you got to deal with the baddest motherfuckers in the world on the court to play with, and you got to deal with family. It's a lot of stress and people don't understand it. People kick you when you're down all the time and they're just always trying to build up bad shit on you. It becomes exhausting, to be honest.
I don't think I've heard Rasheed tell the story of when him and Damon got pulled over. That story really, I think national media-wise, branded you as a criminal and a delinquent. And so we've talked about this. Bonzi, I mean, you weren't a part of that story, but you were lucky not to be a part of that story.
I was blessed that day, but I was, but I remember riding down the street and I remember we seeing the police cars in the distance, like, hey, be cool. Police coming up, and we riding by, and I just remember seeing the Hummer. I just remember seeing Sheed and Damon just kind of looking out the window and the lights all in their face, and I was like, oh my goodness, here goes some more shit.
It's like, so, where's the marijuana, this and that. I'm like, look, we ain't got no marijuana, man. The only thing you can get us for speeding. Like, ain't no marijuana. He's like, I smell it, this and that. Look, dude, ain't no marijuana. And I told him, I was like, dude, ain't no marijuana because we smoked it. I was like, it was a J and the guy smoked. I said, what? I mean, you can't do nothing else about that. You're not going to arrest me if my car smell like shit. So how you gonna arrest me if my car smell like weed and it ain't no weed in here? So we're standing out there outside of Damon's truck, and here comes some lights on the road. Now, mind you, it's desolate out this joint. Ain't no highway lights, none of that, right? Here come the team bus. So we look at the bus, and I'm like, damn, me and Damon both said it at the same time, pretty much like, damn, that's the bus right there. And the guys on it, we seen the bus slow down. All the guys looking back. So we riding back home. Damon like, man, he's like, man, you think this gonna be on ESPN? I was like, Biggs, I said, it shouldn't be. I said, because we didn't get arrested. We didn't get no ticket. They didn't find no weed. None of that. I'm like, ain't no crime. Like, okay, the crime was speeding, but me and you wasn't driving. So I'm at home, right? You know, I'm sleeping in the morning. And my wife coming, at the time I'm married, she coming in. The remote puts it on ESPN. Portland Trailblazers, Rasheed Wallace and Damon Stoudemire. I'm like, oh, snap, they put this on ESPN. But yeah, that was the last, I did not expect that to be on ESPN, yo, on everything, because ain't nobody get arrested. And that's pretty much how the whole cliche fell in with all of us. They call us the Jailblazers, but ain't nobody go to jail. That whole time they was calling us that. I ain't go to jail. You go to jail?
No.
Damon ain't go to jail. Sabonis ain't go to jail. Pip ain't go to jail.
There was one heinous offense committed by a member of the team. Former Blazer Ruben Patterson pled guilty to attempted rape of his child's nanny in 2000. But when it came to the core players, Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells, their only brushes with the law were marijuana related.
You gotta admit though, it got bad after that though. With the media wise, it got bad.
Yeah, with the media, but again, who went to jail?
No, I'm just saying, but that was fuel to the fire. That was almost like the icing on the cake for them to ran with. It got bad. I think with them, they were so frustrated at us because they realized we really wasn't no felonious type dudes. You know what I mean? And only thing we probably was doing was really just smoking some weed. That became their narrative on us. Like, oh, we got a bunch of pothead smokers. And we used to be kind of tripping because I remember looking at a clip with Bill Walton. And I remember him saying something in the crowd about something about him about to roll up a J and this and that. And they were just so hype. And every time Bill Walton come around, he'd have a Grateful Dead shirt on. He on everything. And they love him. And then, but it was us. It was like they used it against us. Like, oh, these are bad guys because they smoke weed. And like, none of us really drink. We don't drink. We don't do none of that stuff. And I used to tell the league back when, they used to be on us, I used to be like, listen, y'all banning the wrong shit. I need to ban this alcohol. Get the weed.
Too much money.
Because the weed is the best babysitter you can ever find in the league. And I used to tell them that, and they used to be like, what are you talking about? And I was like, man, y'all just never experienced a good joint, or a blunt in your life, because nobody want to do nothing but chill back, get some chicken nuggets and some tenders and fries, and just chill and be off your feet. But if you can't have that, we're going to go somewhere and turn up. And you know how the turn-ups could get. It's 50-50 whether you're going to come home, come home without any scrapes scrapes on you or whatever. So
during that whole time when we were going through this tumultuous time with the whole Jailblazers and all of that. I watched the replay of the game. If it's a home game or whatever, they just be killing us. Oh, what are they doing right here? Why would you try to make this pass? And they giving more accolades to the other team. Like, oh, see, this is how the Blazers need to play. Look at the swing movement of the ball, and they're just moving and leads to a perfect layup, blah, 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 right? So I'm like, man, I got tired of it, right? So just so happened, coincidentally, one day I'm out over a friend's house, and she knows Bill Walton, right? And I was like, man, I do not like that fucking dude. I was like, he bashes us every time. And, like Bonzi just said, Portland's a team full of potheads and this and that. And she was like, what? That's what he said? And this and that talking about y'all? I said, yeah. She was like, well, he can't talk because I was smoking weed with him and doing shrooms and acid and all that. And I forgot the name of the park, but where we would always play softball at.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She was like, yeah, it's so-and-so park. Yeah, you used to come out there after the Blazers games and da-da-da. I'm like, oh. So one day, he's killing us, and I see him in the back, and I'm like, yo, I said, dog, you got to stop talking about our guys like that, because you're sitting up here saying this and that. And it went on to what Bonzi was saying, like, yo, this could fuck up a job opportunity later because you sitting up here bashing because you don't know the whole story. You just going off of the whole mystique of the Jailblazers. Said, yo, I said, I know about them acid trips. I said, I know about so-and-so. I named my girl and her husband. And, you know, I was like, yo, so keep talking shit about us. I'm going to start talking shit about you. Ain't had no problems with him from there on out. You can't be hypocritical. Like, I ain't never tell nobody this. I don't even think I told you this. But when I was out there in Portland, they asked me to do a don't do drugs commercial. Right? And you know, with me being the face of that Blazer team at the time, I was like, let me get back to you on that one, right? So the next day in practice, you know, the PR person came again. She's like, hey, so what do you think about, you know, the PSA that don't do drugs? I was like, I'm not going to do that. And she was like, why? I said, being as though I smoke marijuana, I said, that'd be very hypocritical of me to go up here and do a national PSA telling your kids, don't do drugs, don't smoke, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I said, nah, I can't do that. Just think about it. They called us the Jailblazers. Just think. We really could have been doing some bullshit. Just imagine if the whole team, every week is something.
It's turned up.
Like, damn, she just got locked up. He had a DUI. They talk so much shit about us, but look at all the other things that happened to a lot of the other people in the league during that time. Charles Barkley throwing motherfuckers out the bar window, spitting on motherfuckers. Oh, but now, you know, he's a saint. You know, and Chuck, that's my guy. But, you know, now he's a saint.
Like Charles Barkley's Suns teams of the early 90s, the early 2000 Portland teams are defined by their inability to win it all. The Blazers never rebounded after their fourth quarter collapse in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers became a dynasty. The Blazers fell apart.
I was young. You talk about it all the time. The thing coming across my head was like, wow, we're going to the NBA Finals and we're going to be playing Indiana, and I'm going to be going home to play Indiana. We're going to beat the hell out of them. That was just my mindset when we was up 17. I'm like, oh, shit, we got this. Because we were playing so well. You know, everybody was playing well. We was all like, we had them. And I remember sitting on the bench and, you know, usually the games go by fast. That game was going by slow as hell, and that lead was going down. It was diminishing fast as hell. I would look up there from 17, and a bank shot 3, 14, 12. You know, the next thing you know, you get to that lob. Shaq dunked on Sheed. It was a lot, and I remember sitting on the bench, and I was just sitting there just so distraught, and I just remember I was being so foolish to myself. And I said to myself, shoot, we'll be back next year. We was more talented. Don't get me wrong, Kobe and Shaq are the next level, but as a team and as a whole collectively, we felt like we had better talent. And, you know, and if we just kind of neutralize those two or just keep them kind of at bay, we can stop the rest of the guys, you know, anybody. And like he said earlier about the league was scared of us back then too. You know, we had a mindset going into games that we was up 10 or 15 just going into the game because they were scared of us. So I was naive at that fact that we thought we can get back. It was definitely, something to really think on your life how it would have, could have been, you know, if we would have won that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm over it now. You know,
because you got a chip.
Years later. No. I mean, even if I didn't, you know, it's years later. It was a good game. We've always had good games and good series against the Lakers. While I was there and before Bonzi got there, and even when he was there, we've always had good games against the Lakers. Yeah. But, yeah, that one, man, playing against them in that game, we had it. Yeah. As Bonzi said, we had it. And I can remember looking on a bench, and you got guys like, yeah. You got other cats just looking in the stands, talking to chicks. They even Phil Jackson, he was out of it. But then that timeout, I guess, you know, they mustered, they rallied the troops, and then from there it was all bad luck for us. We missed 13 straight shots. Out of that 13, I think I missed 7 myself.
At least,
for real. And I'm talking about bunnies, little jump hooks that I knew was good, little jump shots I knew was good that I was hitting all fucking series. But like, damn, I looked at it. I was like, wait, that's a as the time went on, I was like, that was an unlucky number right there, that 13. I was like, all right, I missed 7 of them joints. But as I said, you know, with me being older now and, you know, just removed from the game, want to help other kids and stuff play the game, you know, it's just great stories to tell, great locker room stories or great AAU stories with the kids on the bus and all of that, dealing with those games. But man, like Bonzi said, I was the same way. I'm like, man, we about to beat the shit out of Indiana. I'm like,
I didn't watch that game, 2000 game 7, until rest in peace Kobe passed.
oh, I watched it that night.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. I was so sick about it. I never could watch it. And then when Kobe passed, I kind of let it go. And I told myself I can watch it. So now I watch it. I probably watched it 10 times through its entirety since. And I kind of just, you know, as a coach now, you know, you kind of, you know, you find yourself scouting and looking and seeing why we lost. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, you know, it was just fate. Like you said, we shot the same shots we were hitting. It was just fate for them. And it was bad timing for us, I guess. But we didn't do nothing different.
So you didn't watch, it took you 20 years to watch it?
I couldn't watch it.
And Sheed, you watched it that night? That's sadistic.
Yeah, we went home a lot. No, I had to get back at it because it was that feeling. I felt like I got robbed. At that time, I felt like I got robbed. They took something from me. So I'm like, all right, now I got to go back and see where it was. Outside of me knowing that I was about 85% of those 13 missed shots, outside of that, I'm like, all right, where did we fuck up at? Like Bonzi said, where did we fuck up at? I got to go back and look, where did I fuck up at? And you don't say, oh man, I wish I would have stepped up sooner. You can't say that. You know, you just got to look at it and see, all right, and just put it in that memory bank for next time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the tension in that building, man, look, that was one of the best games I ever played in. Even though I came out on the losing end, that was one of the best games I ever played in and one of the best game 7s. I do have to admit.
Atmosphere-wise, yeah.
Yeah, they went on a hell of a run.
The three of us have talked about you guys doing a documentary. Why, if I'm a casual NBA fan, why should a documentary be made on the Jailblazers and on this team?
Whenever somebody talk about one of the teams that should have did it or could have did it, we like number 1 or 2.
If you remember Sheed's, every time he get in the post game, he gonna say the same thing. Both teams play hard.
God bless and good night.
Because he knew he had to do it, but he didn't, you know, he understood that I ain't gonna hurt my family too. We tried to keep our stuff G-rated for the most part because you couldn't say shit. So now we can say whatever we want to. We can tell our net. We can tell people what really, really, really was happening so they can form their real opinion. I don't even understand why they was mad. And that's what really, really fucks me up when I think about it. It's like, bro, y'all cost us a lot, you know, in terms of reputational, money, you know, opportunity, all that type of stuff, just on some hate type shit. So you gotta imagine, you got a whole state looking at black dudes hoop and then everybody's white. So, you know, you gotta understand, you know, that facet of it.
Everybody don't like it.
If they could have mixed some Dan Dick Owls up in there, some Adam Morrisons and all them type dudes up in there that was from that area, we probably been lit. But it just wasn't that. And it killed my career. I mean, you know, like me and Sheed talk about it. If it, you know, I appreciate guys like Joe Dumars and them to kind of save Sheed, you know, to kind of help change his narrative and all that good stuff. And, you know, I had that to a certain extent, but I wasn't able to win a chip and kind of get, you know, a franchise to love me and keep me around because once, you know, I went to 4 other teams when I left Portland. And every time you go somewhere, you walk in a room, everybody, you can just feel that they're already nervous, scared of you in some type of way in their perception because they think you wild. Everywhere I went, that people looked at me like a jailblazer and everything that came with that baggage, that backpack.
That's a tough one. We were misunderstood, and I think we were before our time. All we was doing was just smoking weed and just wanting to win basketball games, trying to win a championship.
All right, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Well, thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you want to see a documentary on the Trailblazers team of this era, leave a comment below. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. There's a second part of our conversation that focuses on NBA referees coming soon.